It's the real spiel. We up in here, man, with some basketball legends. It's Del K. Brereton, and I brought the Knights with me tonight. What's going on to subscribers, to everybody out here supporting? Listen, we can't watch the NBA because some of us ain't watching. We can't comment on some of these things like First Take and ESPN because we unfollowed. But I brought some legends, some basketball legends tonight. We're going to have a conversation, introducing, bringing to the stage, ba-da-da-bam. We call him skills in college. The great Glenn Harding from New York City, Lincoln's finest, and the man who almost picked Mark Johnson, Mark, the man who almost picked the king of the hardwood. We got Charlie Chase, all the way from Jersey. Charlie Chase, one of the legends from FDU Knights. Charlie, one of the things I remember is when I first came to FDU, when you were recruiting me, you're talking about picking somebody's pocket. Tell me whose pocket you're trying to pick.
Well, we had a big thing with our team. We had a Jamie Latney. We would bet him if he could dunk on their main player. My thing was see if I could steal the ball from their main player. Now let's not get it twisted. Mark Jackson was my big brother. He schooled me. So it was an honor to even compete and have to guard him, especially in the Garden. That's
right.
home.
That's right. But you stole the ball. That's it. Tell the rest of the story.
They called me for a foul, but I did get a strip down. But Mark is still, man. I went to basketball camp. I went to 5-star camp with Mark, and he played in the backcourt with a teammate of mine, Alan Cook. And they were just, Mark showed his scoring ability at camp that week. Ooh. And he sat behind me in the cafeteria at every meal. So I really got to know him well that week. And, it was just a challenge to have to play against, the great Mark Jackson.
And Glenn Harding, when I met him, he was skinny, 6'5", straight out of Brooklyn, called himself Skills. The dude used to throw the ball between people's legs and bring it back. First dude I ever seen really do that in the 80s. Glenn, tell the people who you are, man.
Good evening, people. My name is Glenn Pooh Harding. I went back to my original nickname, which is Pooh. Guys at Fairleigh Dickinson called me Skills because I did a lot of things well. I am the CEO and founder of Basketball Heads. That's New York's #1 basketball show where I interview some of New York's greats and legendary players in New York City history.
Man, listen, FDU at the time, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, sometimes they used to call us fairly ridiculous. That's what the media had the audacity to call us. But when you came to FDU, you didn't get the ridiculous.
It was fairly remarkable.
That's what they should have called us. That's what they should have called us. Okay, and we had at the head leading the charge. We were all being led by the guy with the biggest smile in the whole doggone world. His name was Tom Green.
Oh yeah, Coach
Green. Coach Green fathered a generation of men from all over the world, like from Jamaica. We had Daddy from Jamaica. I'm from Canada.
You had Akila Shokai from Africa.
Right. We had Torsten Stein from Germany.
That's right.
Except I don't know if Stein is still mad at Coach. But I want you to tell me, and I have mine, I'll go last. What's your best Tom Green story? We're gonna start it off with Tom Green. Tom Green is a legend in the New Jersey area. Coach Green, please tell me your best Tom Green story.
Are you asking me to go first?
Whoever wants to go, jump in.
Go ahead, Chase.
Oh man, so let me see. My best Tom Green story. Tom came to my high school not to recruit me. All right, he came for a big 6'7" dude, Ian Russell, that played with me my senior year. Came from New York. And Tom was like not interested in the guard. He was looking at this guy. Well, Tom's wife, Margot,
Wow.
sat with him and told him that if he didn't recruit me and offer me a scholarship, she wouldn't come to any more recruiting trips with him ever again.
Wow.
And he called me, told me the story, and then I kind of fell into Fairleigh from that point on. Now, initially, I didn't go to Fairleigh because I fell in love with Manhattan College. But the moment that I decided to leave Manhattan towards the end of that season, first season, I had a successful individual season, but the team, it just didn't look like we had a future. And I really wanted to win in college. I knew I would get that off at Fairleigh, so I gave Tom a call. And when I called him back, he talked about that conversation and how happy he was that I was considering school. And I decided to come on back. And I'm so glad I did, man. Like, Glenn Harding there is probably my truest friend from my Fairleigh experience. And I'm telling you, I got some great brotherhood that I gained from Fairleigh. And I have to say, Glenn Harding stands at the top of that.
Well, that's your segue, Glenn. What's your time?
Appreciate you.
I'm a drag you though, because I have some crazy Glenn headed. You can I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm about the crazy Glenn Harding story, but you go first.
Well, I want to make sure we said this. Our teammate Torsten Stein is the world's tallest chiropractor.
Hey,
down in Scottsdale, Arizona. All right,
7'5".
I think he's like 7'2", 7'3", something like that.
7'3". He's 7'3".
7'3". Okay. The German Wall. The German Wall.
Torsten walked on campus with me.
Wow.
Yeah. The biggest human being I ever seen. Well, go ahead. Tell us your Tom Green story.
You probably know about this, Wendell. It was that year we was labeled the Young Guns, right? We was in front of the media guy.
Right.
Right.
90, the year after I left.
Right.
So Wendell had the shoes on with the tight ass pants.
This is, man, I came with some style, man.
Yeah, okay.
Yo, we raised them right, Chase. We raised them right.
Y'all called me Carlton for 3 years.
We brought him up, right?
Rightfully so. But it was a situation where we lost or won spanning 15 games by 3 or less points.
Okay.
And he was trying to figure it out with us, and he was just going around to everybody, telling them why he gave them a scholarship and why he brought them here. And it wasn't for him, no one would get here and be at Fairleigh Dickinson because he obviously gave him a scholarship. But before he could get to me, I stepped up and said, yo, what you doing is not fair and it's not going to motivate us. And, in Tom Green fashion, he told me to hit the showers. and me being my rebellious self said, if I leave, everyone is leaving. And everyone took their jerseys off. They threw them on the floor, and we all marched to the showers. And to Coach credit, he made me captain of the team, or one of the captains.
Wow. Okay.
Glenn, you was one of the captains when I was there, bro. You was the moment you touched down.
That was a crazy story. Okay, I got my Tom Green story. All of my kids, all of the kids I've coached, I've told them this story, especially knucklehead kids. So we went to St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And when we went to St. Francis, Pennsylvania, Tom would always drive. Remember, he would rent like a purple Cadillac. There would always be a purple one and a white one, or a purple one and a blue one. So we went up in there and we're practicing. I'm a freshman. And I think his name was Mike Burke. Was it Burke? Mike Burke?
Mike Burke.
Yeah. So Burke elbows me by, while he's playing. And I'm like, yo, bro, what are you doing? And so I walk up on him, and dude just sneaks me, bro. This catches me. Bam.
No,
Burke.
I don't think that was Burke, because Burke was
That
gone
couldn't
when
have
you
been
came.
Burke.
Burke was gone by the time you came.
No, it was Burke. Mustache, fork nose, Burke.
He said, oh, "That's Burke."
Yo.
Yeah, it was Burke. I was a freshman. He was a senior. So
yeah.
he
Got you.
sneaks me, and I'm losing it now. Everybody's holding me, and Coach Green kicks me out of practice. Right? Goes, Brereton, get out of here. Get out of the gym. He kicks me out of the gym.
Mike Burke don't start trouble with nobody.
What's that?
Mike Burke never started any trouble with anyone.
He never started any trouble. I came to him, and I'm bigger than him, so he figured I got to throw a punch before this dude gets to me, right? So he sneaks me. He kicks me out of practice, and he tells me to go outside, and I'm waiting now. He comes, he sees me after practice. He's like, Brereton, get in the car. So he sits me down in the car, and he says, I want to tell you something. I go, okay, what do you want to tell me? He goes, you're an asshole. I was like, what did he I said, what? He goes, wait. You're an asshole. And you've got to realize how to control your asshole. You're bigger than him. What did you expect him to do? You've got to calm yourself down. You've got to control yourself. You got to control your emotions. And I sat there, I was sweating. I didn't know what, but at the end of the day, when he said that to me, I was like, you know what? He was right. I was being a little bit of an a-hole. And that lesson, honestly, it's a weirdest story, but that lesson for me, like a guy who just sits down and says, hey, you got to look at yourself and realize the issues you brought to that situation, how you are culpable in causing that problem, and how now you need to go calm yourself down, deal with your teammate in order that you can play. It might sound strange to other people, but as a dude coming out of where I came out of, and as a big person, nobody ever sat there and called me a name to my face and made me have to actually look at myself and say, okay, maybe I am an a-hole.
You got to realize, Tom, you know, over the years, Fairleigh had some real characters before you came.
I can imagine.
Really live guys, you know, Marcus Gaither, Ken Webb, Larry.
Damari Riddick, say his name.
Damari Riddick, Jamie Latney, you know, these
Bigelow.
Kelvin, Bigelow, Mike Bozeman. Eddie Wilson. These Glenn Harding. These were larger than life characters. So he had developed an ability to pull all these different type of egos together and make them work. You know, I had to learn early as the point guard of that. You know, you had a lot of scorers, a lot of big time players on the court with one ball.
Right.
And it was real difficult to manage that. But, you know, guys like Glenn came in because, see, a lot of that's gained off the court. The fellowships and how you know, the camaraderie in the locker room, the walk to the dorms from camp, from the basketball court, from the gym. You know, that's when the pecking order was made. And, you know, you had guys like Glenn, his first year, he redshirted. And he still, amongst the team, he still stood in as a leader amongst, you know, the younger guys. He was the lead of the younger guys. Even though he wasn't eligible, he practiced with us. So, you know, at Fairleigh, and it brought a lot out of you your first year, Wendell. You know, you stayed in that weight room because that was where you made your mark. You know, everybody that was
I couldn't run with you guys. Like basketball in America, for those who don't remember, like basketball in America in the 80s, we had great talent in Canada, but you guys had pace. And so I could play, but I couldn't play as fast. And I mean, I remember one of the first times I played with you, Chase, you threw me the ball and you threw it right at me and I fumbled it and went out of bounds. You said, next year, you're going to catch that ball and you're going to dunk it. And you gave me maximum, like you gave me maximum encouragement. Now Harding was different now. Glenn, Glenn was the off the court mentor. Glenn was the off the court. He's like, hey, you guys come here and see, look at this Canadian drink alcohol. And put in Budweiser's in my hand and say, go ahead, at 18 years old. Go ahead, drink that alcohol. I was drinking down Budweiser cans like I was drinking, I don't know, like I was drinking water. Glenn was the off the court. He had all the personality, all the jokes, all the ladies loved him. Glenn is the only guy who I ever saw who would call a girl stupid and he'd be like, what up, stupid? And make it look romantic. What up, dummy?
Or call him, Glenn. Or call a Glenn, or call them Indica.
We ain't gonna go there, fellas. We ain't gonna go there. But I definitely get it.
Glenn,
I got a question. Who is the greatest FDU Knight? I'm gonna say Desi Wilson. You know I'm gonna say Desi.
You gotta say Desi, but Desi, do you remember when you and Desi first got there? When Lat dunked on him and he couldn't make a basket for 2 weeks?
Desi was Glenn's ear. Desi was a red shirt. He was ahead of me. He was a Proposition 48.
And preseason workouts, when Lat dunked on Desi, and because Desi was killing everybody, when he first touched down, Glenn was backing everybody down with that turnaround. Desi was dunking and dropping that left hook. And then Lat dunked on his neck, and he couldn't make a basket for 2 weeks. The number one
I didn't hear that.
Night all time is, God rest his soul, my big brother, Marcus Gaither.
Okay.
That's the baddest FDU night. I mean, everybody's up for their own opinion, but I played with all. What you think?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I got to see Marcus later on, because I played against him in West Fourth, but I definitely probably would say Desi for his accomplishments and what he was able to accomplish in the 3-year span that we were there.
Right. Well, do this segue to this one, Glenn, because you're the man for this. Who's the baddest New York City point guard of all time? You got Kenny Anderson, you got Dwayne the Pearl Washington, you got Marbury, you got a lot to choose from.
Well, if everybody saw NYC Point Guards, the documentary, right? The original point guard, G.O.D. Yeah, but here's the deal with this. Between Tiny Archibald and Pearl, it's like about 20 years. Pearl birthed so many point guards.
Yeah.
Right? There were legendary moments, so many legendary moments in Pearl Washington's career, like him showing up, to Kingdom in the tournament on a motorcycle, taking off his gold chain, giving it to his girl, and dropping 55.
Oh, and he brought that moped.
Right? And then him coming to Soul in the Hole and winning the game winner off a bounce after stealing the ball and bouncing the ball off the floor and dunking it backwards and looking at the crowd.
Wow.
Okay? And he was a guard. He played forward on defense and played point guard on offense. What about the game winner at the Carrier Dome from half court against Georgetown and running off the court?
I remember that.
So with all the point guards that came after that, I would say Pearl would be the greatest in my eyes because he birthed so many point guards that came after him.
You're right.
You got Corkscrew Kawhi, who's saying shout out to Charlie Chase, and you got Inspired One who said, did Nate Archibald play in New York?
Yes, Nate Archibald played in New York. He was the archetype, right, of all the point guards, even though Lenny Wilkins was a little bit ahead of him. But Tiny did it again like Pearl in high school and in all the tournaments in New York City. Not only that, Tiny Archibald only played 1 year of high school basketball because he's ineligible the other 3 years. So what he was able to accomplish in a small period of time was just simply amazing. You know.
Who's the greatest basketball player you guys ever played against, whether it's pickup, whether it's at Fairleigh or otherwise? Who's the greatest dude who's ever stepped on the court against you or with you?
Chase?
I played Gus Williams, the Wizard, at City College in New York. Blew my mind. He's my idol since I started playing basketball. He was like 49 years old and he dropped 50. It was 10 pros in the game.
Wow. Go ahead, Glenn. What about you?
Lloyd Sweet Pea Daniels.
Okay.
If you guys don't know about Lloyd Daniels,
I played
go look
with
up
Lloyd.
his documentary on YouTube. Go read his books. Here's a guy. He was, heralded one of the best players in the country, and he had the only guy that I know who had drugs problems, got shot, and still made it to the NBA and did well. So him and two other guys, the only guys I would consider who really gave me the business.
Oh, I got it. As far as from that standpoint, I got to claim Rod Strickland.
Okay.
My man Rod. Because I played with Lloyd down the Jersey Shore Basketball League, and I played against Rod for many years down at the Jersey Shore Basketball League. And one summer, Rod was working on, look, you know how Rod get to the hole. You know how his handle is, right? This particular summer, he won't work on his jumper and bang 7 threes on my head. All of a sudden, he got a jumper, smacking me with it. Bang, bang, bang. But Rod probably is the toughest cover I ever had.
Who else? Him and Mark. I might have. Okay, I'm gonna break mine up. So at Fairleigh, he wasn't at the top of his game at the time, but at a pickup game in the summer, Mo Willoughby came to play. And remember Mo?
Bill Willoughby. I remember that.
Bill, was it Bill or Mo?
No, Bill Willoughby.
Bill Willoughby. He came to play, and remember,
the first player to go hardship.
Yeah, right, he went hard. He wasn't. No, I think he was the second. I think he was the second.
The actual true first one was who's the all-time great from the Rucker, made 22 baskets in a row.
You talking about Hammond? You talking about Hammond?
Yeah, he got the first offer, but he didn't take it.
Right.
Well, Mo played, and remember Mel Hawkins.
Bill.
Is it Bill?
Yes,
Bill Willoughby. Sorry, I apologize.
Yes.
Mel Hawkins was playing on his team, and Desi was on the team too. And he wanted to fight Hawkins because he thought that Mel wasn't passing him the ball. It was like he just freaked out. He was like, "You're freezing me out. You're freezing me out." This is a pickup game. Right? And he wanted to fight. It was crazy. I was like, "What's wrong with him, man? Is he okay?" Then Kenny Anderson, when I tried it with the Nets, Kenny Anderson was the fastest human being I ever seen in my life. Like just super fast, super skilled. But in Toronto, who settled in Toronto when I came back from university and everything, I was a policeman. Came back, one of the greatest basketball players, human beings I've ever seen play basketball at the age of 40 plus. Mitchell Wiggins was giving guys 50 and 60 points in men's leagues, giving ball players as an old man and calling out his own name, Wiggins for 2. Andrew Wiggins' dad tore Toronto up for almost a decade. He could have played for the Raptors well into his 40s. Killing people. I mean, going to summer league talking about, "Oh, you're getting 50 tonight, Wendell. Wendell, you're getting 50 tonight."
Wow.
So
he was sharp.
He's a bad man. That was a bad dude.
He was sharp. He blew up one playoff. One year he blew up in the playoffs.
He had a decent career. But any guy who's just average in the NBA will be great in any pickup game or any tournament.
Man.
So
all day, all night.
So Glenn, listen, man, I hear you doing some big things, documentary stuff, and I know Chase is doing big things. Tell us a little bit about your organization. Tell us what you're doing right now with basketball. Give us an understanding of what's happening. I'm going to bring up the Kyrie thing last, but I just want you guys to tell me, what's happening now. What's basketball doing for you, and what are you doing for basketball?
Well, during maybe a couple of weeks before the pandemic hit, I started a basketball show called Basketball Heads. That's Basketball Heads with 2 Z's, 1 word. And a couple of friends of mine, was talking to me about starting this company a few years ago, and it wasn't until we was home for a little bit, the pandemic hit, that I started this company, and it's been a hit. Where I interviewed some of the greatest players in New York City history. So I had Charlie Scott, Hall of Famer. I had Mario Elie. I had Kenny Anderson, Ross Strickland, Derek Chivas. You name it. They are Ricky Sobers, another NBA legend, great. So it's been doing very well. With doing that, I was able to get my basketball court, my neighborhood, revived after 30 years and bring back our basketball tournament, which is called the Brevoort Basketball League. And I do it with a few people from my community. And these last, 2.5 years, I've become the go-to guy for interviews for New York City legendary basketball players. So I attend all the high school games, some college games, not that many pro games. I'm very active on the tournament scene, because besides running my tournament, I go and visit, places like the Rucker, Dyckman, Zone 6, and Gersh Park, just to name a few, and make my presence felt there and show everybody some love. So in New York City, on the basketball side, you could say I'm the guy on that side.
Man, has any university ever said, hey, we need to get this guy to be our head coach? The amount of experience you got?
Yeah, I've coached my high school for 10 years, we won a championship there.
I think you're ready for that university money. Fairleigh Dickinson, hello. NEC, hello. There's some brothers out here with too much experience not to be leading the charge, dealing with these individuals in universities. You guys got too much experience, man. Too much experience. These people should be throwing money at you. I'm gonna be your big up right there.
Well, if they want to throw some money, they can, come cop this merch that we have.
Got merch?
Facts, right?
We're gonna link all the merch.
You see the logo?
Everybody, I want you guys to go. I'm gonna link all the merch to I'm gonna put it at the ad. The ad for this live. I'm going to link all the merch. That ad will never come down. And I'm gonna try to link it to the live after for every single one of these guys. And their contact, their IG contact, because if you got a university, if you're sitting on this thing and you're dealing with the university as an athletic director, one of these guys should be coaching. Chase.
Hey Wendell, check it out. It's late in the game. I'm in the third quarter now, man. I would rather touch and develop as many kids as I can.
Absolutely.
To prepare them for college, rather than pick one team of 15 people. My goal.
Could I give you $1 million to coach university and still develop, though?
I mean, yeah, of course.
Can I give you some Bobby Knight money?
That would change the game, but I think that my purpose is well served, touching maybe 100 kids from Jersey and New York and PA, and getting 100 different kids over a 3-4 year period, getting them to go to college and live that college experience that brought us three together. I think that would be more valuable to my soul than
Can I say this?
$1 million at one university.
Let me say this. Bill Self, right? And no disrespect, I don't want to hurt nobody's money. And I've got a perspective of Bill Self. Bill Self was coaching Kansas. He's probably still the coach of Kansas, right? And I think Kansas has issues right now. Bill Self didn't develop Andrew Wiggins one bit. Not one bit. Andrew stood in the corner for that 1 year he played. He didn't develop him. He didn't get developed in Minnesota. Andrew didn't get any development until he went to Golden State, right? And he's like a son to me because me and Mitchell are really close. We helped him play ball and raised him from small. You can't tell me that if I put you in Kansas, because Bill Self can't coach. Bill Self's not a good coach. I'm sorry, and that might sound disrespectful, but what I've watched him do at Kansas pales in comparison to the platform he has and the type of players that come through. You're telling me, Charlie Chase, that if I put you in a Kansas situation, that you can't do exactly what you said, develop players, and still have you have the basketball IQ and the gravitas to be able to not just develop the young ones, but to affect individuals who are elite when they come to the table. That's why I'm plugging you. I remember how you motivated me, and that's why I'm plugging you.
I appreciate that. And see, one thing about this game, when you have something to offer, whether it's on a basketball court in your neighborhood or it's at Madison Square Garden, if you're true to this game, you're going to give off positive energy. You're going to give off good messages, and you're going to, kind of get people committed to development and success through hard work. There's many ways to play the game successfully. I just find that my purpose is getting the kids' head right, making them, helping them become more than what they are. When you get to that Kansas level, these are kids that are two smart decisions away from making the league. Two bad decisions away from not.
Right.
And yeah, I could help them, more of them, make that right decision. But, at that point, it's really up to the person, because even if I push them while they're there, once they got there, they were prepared to be at that level. And if you needed someone to push you when you got to that point, you're going to ultimately crash anyway, because, the great ones channel in when the opportunity is right. They don't need somebody to push them along.
Right.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm able to affect so much change in my community, which is very much needed. I just got a text message for one of my kids today who I got into a high school. This kid is the Patrick Beverly, right now, young Patrick Beverly. He was doing that in 8th grade in our league and got into this high school. And he just hit me tonight and told me, Coach, I made the last second shot today. And he's only in 9th grade playing varsity.
There you go.
That's the kind of change you want to,
absolutely,
you want to bring into a kid's life.
Glenn, that's, you've been doing that for a long time, Glenn, and it's got to feel good, especially, at one point you were on the education side.
Still there. Yep, still there. Yep.
So you get to really make some moves for these kids and for these youth.
Yep, but I'm gonna say this, guys, and I remember when I came from Canada and I saw the setup from a Canadian perspective. I think sometimes the Black Canadian perspective sees things different. And so when I see gentlemen like yourselves who have such great accomplishments, you're university educated, you've been mentored, you've been coached, there's no reason that you gentlemen should not have been given high-level coaching positions. There's no reason. So I see a disproportionate representation sometimes from the players who move into what you're doing, grassroots coaching, but they're not sitting in the seats of mid-major or high-level universities making that type of money. And if I can just say it, I think that sometimes in the United States of America, you don't see the disproportionate platforms like we see it here. And it's worse here in Toronto. But when I look at guys like you, there's no reason that the talks of boosters and things that they told us when we were in university, all the boosters are going to help you get a job and the boosters are going to do this for you. There's no reason that you guys who are still knee deep, waist deep in basketball, have not been wanded into certain positions. There's no
You know,
reason.
when I left Fairleigh, Tom offered me a job there. I just,
Okay, love it.
sometimes, you have success early on in basketball, high school, successful, college, and you don't get that jump, that real tryout, that real interest in you. You start to try to find what other things that you've gained through your basketball life. Like there was a moment when I really, really had this urge to use my degree. Like I wanted to use it. I wanted to do something in marketing. I wanted to get a job using my mind. But I later found that, that's a good backup or a good plan for someone. But the best version of me is living a basketball life,
Right. You
doing
told me
something
that.
in the world of basketball. There's so many great careers that can bring that, excuse me, that can bring that big time basketball money. You know, there's a lot of careers in this game aside from making it to the big top, to the big time. And I just want to share that with kids. I want to be an example of that. I'm just which is the Garden Achievement Program based
Can
out
you
of
say it one more time? What's it called?
the Garden Achievement Program.
Okay.
And it's basically where we look to give young basketball players a strong foundation in the game of basketball and in the game of life and walk them to college.
Mhm.
That's our purpose. That's our premise.
Yeah, and I think for myself, um, you know, on the coaching side, because I've been offered coaching positions in different high schools and junior colleges of that nature. But you only got one life to live, right?
Right.
And my whole key to my success is leaving a mark on society, right? What's your mark, right? Do you just want to be remembered as a basketball guy? Do you really want to make history, right? How many lives are you changing? And a lot of times that can't have a dollar sign on it. I know a lot of coaches. I interview a lot of coaches that understand that rat race, right? Of being a college coach, especially on that level, on that big time level. This is why you get a lot of guys that look like us. That's our assistant coaches and not head coaches. So that's the whole nother beast, right? A lot of guys that look like us are the assistant coaches and not the head coaches. Even though there are a lot of African American coaches throughout the country, but not as many as they are guys who are actually running their program, like a Deion Sanders on the football side. He can explain it to you a lot better what he has to go through just to fight to be recognized, being a Hall of Fame football player.
Let's talk about that. Do you think now, and I know in America you have your HBCU, I think they're called.
Yeah.
But do you believe that we now need, I'm talking about infrastructure, I'm building out now. So do we need more black universities? Just like, and not just for basketball, but more black infrastructure that's institutional based, black infrastructure that's professional based. Do we need a black NBA? Do we need things that are not necessarily dependent on other cultures? Not that, and guess what? I think that if you have a black NBA and you have more black universities, you have more competition. Now, you know what? You can play for just like the ABA and the NBA. If we have a black NBA, an NBA that's controlled by individuals from our community, they are still going to compete with the other NBA. There's still going to be competition. It's still going to be fair ground, but now you have an institution controlled by the people who are participant in building those types of things. Do you guys feel that we need to have more institutional mindsets than this grassroots mindset that's just like, I'm a coach, I'm a help out, I'm a develop, but how about we put our own universities together so that we know we have representation from the ground up? What's your position on that in respect to basketball in the future? The big question. Anyone can take that one.
I think a black NBA would just be the equivalent to the old ABA. I think and as far as like more universities, I think we got some good things in place. We got great universities, these HBCUs, there's some great ones in place. And I think the movement has begun. I think we should allow that movement to grow into something. You got some big time players that have chosen these HBCUs.
Lately,
now,
but not historically.
Yes, it's historically as well, because let me explain something to you so you get it. Right? I'm going to start from the football side. Early on, especially in the early part of NFL, the top two schools that would get the top players was Notre Dame and Grambling. So and then on the NBA side and ABA side, a lot of these pro basketball players, Walt Frazier, Earl LaPearl, these guys was coming out of the HBCUs.
Okay.
A lot of them. So it's just now,
So how did it switch, Glenn? You know how.
Listen,
how.
It all boils down to the money. This is what I'm telling you about the rat race, right? And no matter how much we, talk about it, that's still going to be the main thing that kind of separates the HBCUs from the other universities.
This is where we catch up. When these kids start going to these HBCUs, and when they start winning in the tournament, these schools, you know the kind of money that a school gets when they go to the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, Final Four, win something? Dude, that's where the change will begin. You get 5, 10 HBCUs that go deep in the tournament, 4 years in a row, starting now. All you need is 3 years of that. It's going to change everything.
You're right.
Okay, so name me the top basketball players right now that's going to HBCUs.
I couldn't tell you that, but I did read about a bunch that signed.
I read about a couple too. I don't know their names though.
Right. This is what I'm saying. Right. When we talking about that now, I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm not saying that's impossible, but I even look at it on the AAU side. If you can offer kids plenty of gear, free sneakers, and a chance at a INL endorsement situation, why would I pick a school that can't give me that over a school that can give me those options?
So who's like my thing is Kyrie Irving, right? And I'm not going to get into that deep conversation yet, but I'm gonna wait. Kyrie Irving gave $1.5 million to the WNBA to help WNBA salaries, right? And as great as that is, what he really did, when you break that down, Kyrie Irving took money out of his pocket to contribute to a multi-billion-dollar organization's capacity to pay salaries from money they already had. To me, that money would have been much better served if Kyrie Irving gave that money to HBCUs or to the premise of starting another independent university. And this is why I think you guys are saying, another commentator here said HBCUs. And guys, if you guys like this conversation, please press like, subscribe. But if you guys are saying HBCUs can do the job, this is my issue. This is my question. Why is there so much Black illiteracy about Black history in our community if we have enough Black colleges? And I'll ask question. Go ahead.
Let me go there. I talk about this all the time. Let's start with this, right? Because if you look at the major HBCUs, their African American studies programs suck.
That's where I was going, brother. Thank you.
Right? And you have to realize that, look, Washington is named after a Confederate general, right? Spelman is named after Rockefeller's either daughter or wife, right? All of these schools are named after prominent, Caucasians, as you say. And this is no knock to them. And it's no knock to those schools.
We're not insulting nobody. We're stating a fact. It's a fact.
I just think they're not investing in that, right? If you think about the fraternities and sororities, they all have Greek history. Nothing about Africa.
Nothing. Nothing.
It used to bug me out when I see, guys and girls joining these frats and sororities, and they're learning about Greek culture.
Greek. They're joining Greek sororities, Greek fraternities, and they're not getting anything in respect to the historicity of their own particular culture. The most I learned about Black people in university was by a white professor teaching ancient history at Fairleigh Dickinson. And holler out to Yvonne Gentles, one of my super thanks fans. I appreciate you so much, Yvonne. But go ahead and finish, you guys. Go ahead.
Hey, Wendell, didn't you pledge?
Did I what?
Didn't you pledge a fraternity?
No, brother, I didn't pledge. I was me by me. You guys taught me that. Glenn taught me that. Glenn was like, I'm me by me. I wasn't pledging no fraternity because I was like, why am I as a Black man pledging a Greek fraternity? That don't make no doggone sense. It didn't make sense to me. And FDU basketball was our fraternity. Anyway,
and they went through like slavery rituals of hazing and beating and all those things. And I lived with a white fraternity, and it was more about the mind games that they played on you than the physicality of it.
Me and Glenn were too busy having too much fun to pledge.
I was in the weight room lifting weights, hoping you guys would join me, because Glenn's still skinny. Glenn still weighed the same thing he weighed in college. He still got no muscle.
Hey, but when you and Desi was in the weight room, me and Glenn was out there getting our 400 shots up.
40. You're getting your what?
400 jumpers.
That's not true. Glenn taught me more about alcohol than anybody in the world.
But here's the deal, and this is what a lot of people didn't realize, right? Larry used to always say this too. He used to say, yo, why do you have your books out? Because I would have everybody over at my place all the time. But my books would be out. And they didn't understand.
And he stayed with me, bro. I couldn't sleep, man. He stayed with me.
I would balance my studying, right, with having fun. This is why I graduated on time. And also putting up shots. I would go there when no one was there. I would go up my game, but I would make sure that, especially in the situation that I was in during my playing days, I just made sure I got the best out of me, and they didn't.
Right.
No matter how crazy that sounds.
Listen, let's talk about it. What do you guys, how are you guys weighing in on the social justice aspects? What do you guys think of Kyrie Irving's situation?
Let me say this real quick, because
Go ahead.
Look, brother, I was watching my guy, Wendell, for a whole week during this whole Kyrie Irving debacle that's going on. And I'm sitting back watching his lives, very entertained, very knowledgeable, which, of course, if I knew how I was watching, I was like, of course, this is my guy. He's a smart guy. And just, how well-spoken you still are to this day, and just how you cover so much the aspects of, being proud to be a Black man in the society and all the problems that, Black people face. And what Kyrie Irving was going through, I was following you for a whole week before I decided to check you out on Instagram and realized that you was my teammate.
Wow, that's dope.
That's crazy.
So that's how we discover people. That's how we get information. I don't watch television. I stay on YouTube. I'm always watching things on YouTube. And to discover my brother, what he's doing, man, I was just so proud that I had a hand in raising the young king, and like he was really if I didn't know you, even if you wasn't my teammate, I still will be watching you because your lives or your segments on the Kyrie Irving situation is so interesting and so well informed. So
Man,
appreciate
bless
you.
you, bro. I appreciate that. But you now give me your position on it. Tell me what your where are you coming in with it? Give me your wisdom as a big brother. Give me your wisdom.
I think the whole situation was unjust.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think the fact that they were still feeding off what was happening to Kanye and what he said on many occasions, that this was their time to get back Kyrie for his stance during the year for not taking the jab, right?
Right.
And then he came out victorious and had so many people support him. The one thing, that I remember from the Malcolm X movie is when all the Muslims was lined outside the priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
And they said one black man shouldn't have that much power.
Mm.
Right?
Right.
And I just said to myself, here's a guy who made a post of an old movie that was on the platform of Amazon, and they chose to use that as a reason to punish him.
To lynch him.
In public.
Mm.
In public. No one talked about Amazon having it, the book and the movie, on their platform. And then you got guys who look like us who come out and speak against him. Right? We talking about all these pro players that we don't know. They're all told what to do. Trust me, I've interviewed so many pro basketball players on my platform, and they would tell you, when you get to the NBA, it's like being on handcuffs or being controlled, because they tell you, don't go back to your neighborhood and do things for your community. Stay far away from the people who you came up with, because they'll bring you down. And they create this disconnect. So when you get a guy like Kyrie that's staying close to the people, that's humble, that's making sure that his people are being informed, he gets punished for it.
Yeah.
Chase, hit this question right here. If you could give advice to our NBA players as a whole in this moment, what would you say? From this brother Chris put this out there. Thanks, Chris. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Keep this going. We're talking with Charlie Chase and with Glenn Harding, FDU's greatest, New Jersey and New York's finest, some of the greatest basketball players and mentors and coaches that we've had in the last generation. And he's about to hit this question out of the park. I know it. But just stay tuned. Keep asking the questions. Keep loving this. Keep liking it. Keep the energy going, because some big things are coming. We're going to still talk about this for a little while longer. We're still going to stay here. Go ahead.
I think a good way for a lot of these guys, NBA players, and older guys in the community, why don't you start taking your walk and moving in life, and what you have to say or what you bring from your gift that God gave you is, how can you help someone else? Rather than, help yourself, rather than focus on your game, why don't you focus on bringing some good to the world? What can you do to make things just a little bit better for the people that live where you're from? Like, if you saw obstacles growing up, what can you do to break down some of those obstacles? If you have a gift or some success,
right,
what do you do with your success to help those that would come after you?
What do you guys think about? And Glenn, I want you to hit this one. What do you think about Jaylen Brown's position? How he has stood up? Like,
first of all, I think he's doing his job as he's supposed to, being a representative and head of the Players Association. But he's in a tough situation right now because things can kind of railroad him in his career.
Right.
And while he's standing up for Kyrie and the situations that he's going through. So put up that last question. I didn't get to see that last.
Which one?
The one that before that, it said discussed right before you wanted me to touch
on.
Oh,
it. This no. This guy's saying people are probably too disgusted to care about the games right now.
Yo, listen, hold on, time out. I'm gonna tell you.
Go ahead.
I haven't watched besides the game that I was invited to. I went to the second Nets game because my guy Chris Williams and his friend who was Siakam's agent. You know, he wanted me to meet him, and we
Toronto's finest.
Yes. So, and we just happened to win the game. But besides that, I haven't watched a basketball game or full basketball game, even an NBA championship, in about 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
Because I don't want to get. I have my theories on the game because I think at the top of the pyramid of all of these sports. Teams and leagues, that everything is rigged, fam. So that's my whole thought on it, and it proves me right every time. So to see what's going on right now, right? So with all the stuff that they put in our face, always think about what else is going on in the world that they're not telling us about. And
what do you think about that, Chase? You think the NBA is rigged or
I think that players try to stay healthy during the regular season. I think it's very important to, protect yourself during the regular season. I see a different energy in the playoffs than I see during the season. Like if you watch a college team for 4 to 6 regular season games, and then you watch a college team in the postseason, you're going to see the same team. But if you watch an NBA team, between games 20 and 40,
right,
and you watch that same team during the first or second round or during any playoff game, you're going to see a whole different energy.
Right.
That bothers me. That bothers me a lot. And I get it.
And that probably won't mean that the game is rigged on that end, but I understand that you got 82 games and they kind of want to save themselves. Right, dudes are coasting.
It plays into your theory, Glenn.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like getting guys out of the game, like Draymond Green that year. They gave him a technical foul to get him out the game so the guys can catch up, right? The Cavaliers can catch back up, right? And then LeBron James winning the first championship that he won with Cleveland on King James' birthday on June 19th. So those are just one of the examples. I won't go too deep into a lot of other things that I think about the NBA. So, but look, I'm glad that the game is here.
Lady Hurricane said we should be banning. Lower them's doggone ratings.
Because at the end of the day, when a guy gets fired, let's think about your guy Mark Jackson, right? He has not had another NBA job. Do you think that's by coincidence? And he built
Golden State.
Do you think that's by coincidence?
Nah.
You know why Mark Jackson hasn't had an NBA job? Mark Jackson was too Christian for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, they said he was too Christian. He wanted Bible studies. And of course, the owners of the Golden State Warriors.
Bible study. He didn't want Bible. Don't believe the hype. He didn't want Bible study. He didn't want Bible study.
Go ahead. Tell me what you think.
He didn't want. I'm telling you, you said it right. You can't be too righteous.
Nah.
You have to walk that fine line. And someone said the part that Jalen Brown is playing right now, he has to walk that fine line because soon as he get out of line, whoosh, get back in line.
Right. Right. No, it's incredible because what I think we're seeing really now is we're seeing that, and it should be the complete opposite, but we're seeing that individuals, the more you give them, the more they're afraid to lose. You give a guy like LeBron,
that's the money. That's what I'm talking about. It all boils down to this.
$1 billion has LeBron James silent of all social justice. LeBron James would lead the charge. I remember people would talk about, oh, LeBron. That's why I like LeBron over Michael, because Michael doesn't say anything about social justice. LeBron is always front and center at social justice. Where is LeBron now in the conversation of social justice? We saw where he lined up early, and this whole last minute plea, in my opinion, by the black bourgeoisie, the black players, the black media, to turn around and all of a sudden support Kyrie, I think it's too little, too late, and I think it's disingenuous. I think it's insincere. If you were riding with him from the beginning, we would have seen it. But I think what's happening right now is guys are afraid of getting canceled by the black community, afraid of getting canceled by their friends, knowing they can't go home. And now they got to go, like Shannon Sharp and individuals like that. They got to go on there now and try to stir up a fake presentation, like they are representing Kyrie Irving or representing the platform. But I don't believe it's actually sincere.
Wendell, in their defense, because this kind of happened to me. When people first heard about it, they didn't hear Kyrie's full interview.
Right.
And they were kind of judging the whole matter based on Kyrie's situations in the past. This is my take on those people that said the wrong thing in the beginning. And now all of a sudden they're so adamant about what he said. Because for me, at first, I didn't hear the interview. And I was like, uh-oh, here we go again. Kyrie wanted to make a stand and not just focusing on basketball. That was my original. But when I saw what he said and how they were coming at him based on what I heard him say, that it just changed everything.
Chase, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off because
it just changed everything for me. And I know his father's a good man.
Right.
And when I listened to what he said, I said, okay, I know that his father did his thing with that boy. That boy's well prepared. That boy knows what needs to be said. And the boy is really just put in a bad situation that's just totally unfair. It's just totally, totally unfair. And these people initially kind of judged him as the spoiled athlete. What did he say now? What did he do this time? But once you listen to how well he represented himself and how careful he was about those other people that were in question in this situation, I mean, my hat goes off to him because
you're talking about Kyrie or Jalen, bro?
I'm talking about Kyrie and how.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I think a lot of people.
But everybody judged him on a movie that no one saw. That's what's crazy to me.
And he didn't even comment on it.
None of these guys saw the film. It's not about what he said. It's about a post that he made, right? We talking about like Allen Iverson said, not practice. We talking about a post. We talking about a post. Yo, we talking about a post.
We're talking about a post,
right? None of these guys sat and watched the film. This is what I'm saying, and they all came at him in a judgmental way. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole point. No one did their due diligence, and no one did their homework. So that is the problem that I have with this whole situation. And then when they start seeing social media being flooded with all kinds of people from all walks of life in support of Kyrie, then they started backtracking.
Look what Amala Adula says. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Why aren't the players moving towards pooling their resources? They have power to walk away and create their own ventures. And again, I also like to thank GSH Everything 27 for your super thanks. I appreciate that so much to help the channel. Bless you and thank you for that. But let's deal with her question, right? Why aren't they why aren't players pooling their resources? Why these NBA players, they want to be commentators, they want to own a team per se, but why aren't they saying, let's get together and pool our resources and do something to compete with the NBA now? Like that should be a conversation. What do you guys think?
Families. They can't just take these big, gigantic risks based on the mood of, people. Like,
True.
still got to plan their retirement. They got to plan their kids' education.
But
They,
Chase, these guys are making more money they've ever made in their life. If there's ever a time that NBA players could actually say, "Hey, I can put aside 20 million each," like 20 guys can say, "I can put aside 20 million."
but you're asking them to jeopardize the future of their children, their grandchildren's interest.
But
I
it's
get
going to be jeopardized anyway if they don't come together, because they're always going to be slaves to the system and the money. Listen, I have a different ideology. Ideology from this whole situation, because I feel like Wendell, if these guys put their pieces together, right, and realize that they're more powerful together, right, than separate. Now, here's the key. They all know the powers that be. They all know the truth. They all know something that we don't know, and realize that if we do this, we are in trouble. Allah.
But what Chase is saying, is that
no, I get what he's saying. Yes,
they've risked. I think they're afraid to risk the bag, and they're afraid to risk their security
because they know about the powers that be that will shut them down. Remember, I could give you more history in this from the music industry when Jay Prince, Suge Knight, and Irv Gotti and a few others came together to put together a black distribution for music artists. Mind you, these guys, some of them had shady backgrounds, but they was doing it for a right cause. The FBI shut them down. They locked up Suge Knight, went after Jay Prince, tried to kill him, and then they went and slaughtered Irv Gotti to make sure that they'll never be able to bounce back. They all won, they escaped it, but the movement was stopped. The Black Panthers, right? They weren't a violent group, but what did the government do? They got free lunches that they gave out, which our country adopted, after-school programs, all these things that the Black Panthers started, our country adopted, but destroyed the organization. So they told people earlier, if you come together and we not get money off of it, we'll destroy you.
Chase, what do you think about Ice Cube's Big Three? That's an example. What you think that's competing, or you think that's taking a risk? If guys decide to do something similar that was, something instead of a Big Three? I said earlier a Big Five. What do you think?
You talking about his 303 Summer League?
Yeah, it's like you call it the Summer League.
You saw he said it. You saw he said it. And listen, no knock to you, Chase, but that's how they have us programmed. And if you know anything about Ice Cube, he'll tell you the NBA is hating on him. The NBA is trying to stop his momentum.
Chase call it Summer League. Chase call it Summer League. Chase call it AAU for old Negroes.
It's a good start. No. I think his league is a good start for all the ideas that y'all saying. I think he got the right idea. Because to do what y'all want to do, you ain't just going to jump in and say, here's a new league.
Right.
With all these powers that be, and he got a good idea, you got to sneak in that. You got to sneak in. He's sneaking in with this league. It's going to be so popular at some point. He's going to make this thing so popular that there's going to be a TV deal. And there's going to be masses that want to see the finals. And then that's going to open the door to some of the things that y'all want done.
You don't think the NBA is cooperating with the Big Three at all?
No. Look, do the research.
Never happened.
Type in Ice Cube says the NBA is trying to stop him or is hating on the situation. Trust me, they throwing all kind of roadblocks. They throwing all kind of
Pretty soon
situations
they're gonna put up in
in
their
his way.
contract if your NBA players, certain leagues aren't sanctioned, and
And the
it'll be
venues.
back.
Somebody's bringing up the venues. They might shut down and say, hey, if you
There
guys
you
rent the
go.
venue to these dudes, we'll pull all support to you.
Yeah.
You don't get me wrong. Q, he can put up a venue. He can find a location. See, but I think this is a great scenario to launch your other league.
You see
What's
that,
It's
that?
a
Dell?
perfect
You
What's
time.
see
that?
that?
What's it say?
Says Ice Cube accused NBA and ESPN of trying to destroy Big Three League.
Wow. Wow. When was that?
This is just this year. It's October. I heard about it around September, October.
I'm
Wow.
not surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised because the NBA, they want a monopoly, bro. They don't want no competition.
They don't want no competition. And I'm
No.
surprised that they're not being dealt with anti because you can't have a monopoly in Canada or the US. Anti-monopoly laws supposedly stop you. They actually do have a monopoly.
Yeah, there's
That's
monopolies
what's
all
going
over America. Trust me. That's just what it says on paper.
Mm.
Yeah. But see, I think Cube is at such a level. If he sneak in the right window or open the right side door with this league and the direction this 3-on-3 league is going in, he's on the verge of creating what y'all hope for.
Listen, for those people that's in the building, let me just give a quick plug real quick while we got a nice audience on here.
Go ahead.
For the best content in New York City basketball, for all my
Bam.
people out there that loves New York City basketball,
Bam.
subscribe to NYC Basketball Network. And
On
trust me,
YouTube,
on YouTube,
do it right now.
NYC Basketball Network, NYC Basketball Network, and get the greatest content and greatest stories in New York City history.
NYC Basketball
Network.
Put it in the comments right now.
And
Network.
look, Dylan Hill said it takes time to formulate a plan. True, but trust me, we have a lot of guys who like house slaves. I won't say the other word, who would let the powers that be know this is what they're planning to do.
Yep.
Shaq and Charles Barkley said the same words when they called Kyrie an idiot. You know that they both said the same thing.
Same thing.
Who told them to say that? Now,
True.
when I interviewed Ross Strickland, Ross Strickland said one of the greatest attributes that his god brother had or his friend had, which is Dedrick Irvin, was his smarts. He was smarter than everyone.
Yes.
And he said the greatest thing that Kyrie has over a lot of these players is that he's smarter than most of them. Right? So this guy was taught to be respectful, to love everyone from all cultures and all walks of life. But because he stands 10 toes down on the issues that he doesn't agree with, they want to make him pay.
Go ahead, Chase.
Kyrie comes from a good man, Dedrick Irvin, man. It's a good dude. I had a great time with him. My experience with Dedrick at 5-star basketball camp. We hung out the whole week together. That's where I met Rod. Matter of fact, Pro Washington and Mark Jackson, Len Bias, they all were there that week. It was an incredible week where I met Kyrie's dad, and he left a mark in my mind. The guy. First of all, he's one of the first tall point guards I ever seen. He was about 6'4", 6'5", and he had a handle like he was 5'8". I mean, wicked handle.
That's his dad?
Dedrick.
Yeah, he played for Boston University. I used to watch him when I was at MCI.
I think he's the all-time leader scorer at Boston University.
Kyrie's dad?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Kyrie Dad's one of the top players in New York City history.
Oh,
Also,
man.
him and Ross Strictly came up together. I think he's
same year
maybe
as me,
they
bro.
came up, a year older. Yeah.
What's his dad's name?
Dedrick Irvin. Type in Dedrick Irvin, Boston University. You'll see Kyrie's dad.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Florida. He was off the knee wraps.
He was the man. He was the man there. I remember him coming out of high school.
Scored that will.
Dedrick Irving, eh?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Hold on. Check this out.
I just put it in the chat there for people who. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know Kyrie.
Look. This is Dad right here. My old Street and Smith magazine.
What you doing in Street and Smith magazine, man?
I was in it. Honorable mention All-American. There's my McDonald's All-American plaque right there. I was nominated McDonald's All-American. So trust me, if you did work and you was in that book, so.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in that book.
I was the Street and Smith Sleeper Player of the Year. I just want to throw that out there, just so you know. Just so you know. Just so you know. You know what? It was funny when I came to FDU and they recruited me. Heinrich recruited me, and Heinrich, I don't know who was a bigger embellisher. I ain't gonna call him Tiny or Heinrich, right? So
Definitely
Heinrich, I don't know what he told y'all. I got there and Chase was like, "Yo, I heard you got like a 50-inch vertical, bro. I heard you could do somersault, windmill dunk." So he took me to watch a practice, and Jamie Latney just strolled down the court and did that Vince Carter between the legs dunk like it was nothing, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And Chase looked at me. "You can dunk like that?" I'm like, "No, I can't."
Yo, you remember Rodney Caldwell? Rodney
Caldwell. What up, dog? What up, dog?
Rodney Caldwell. He's now retired from the MTA here in New York City. Rodney Caldwell got a scholarship at Fairleigh Dickinson off a videotape. And our coaches were so mad and disgusted at
he stole money
all his year. Yo,
Rodney,
we wasn't mad at him.
Man.
We weren't mad at him.
You're the worst basketball player in the history of FDU basketball, but we love you. You were the funniest, but you were the worst. We're like, who recruited Rodney?
Yo, Chase.
Yo.
They saw his videotape and gave him a scholarship. Tom and them was so mad. By the time he finished his career, Dad took half his scholarship away. They was trying to get him to leave.
This is the worst part. Rodney Caldwell came to university for FDU, and he took engineering. And the engineering books were the most expensive books. And I remember Green going, "I got to pay for these damn books." And he can't even play.
Chase, I never seen a player get so abused by coaches, and they was mad. And we weren't mad at Rodney. We was like, that's their fault.
That's their fault. He was never upset about it. Never. He was never depressed.
And he said, "I'm not leaving." And he said, "I'm not leaving." And he graduated.
He knew that he picked him. That's wild.
He got a D1. He got a D1 scholarship.
4 years. And the accent. Listen, I never heard an accent like that in my life, man. He's the first guy to say, "I'm from Chi-Town, 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 Chi-Town." I couldn't understand half of what he said.
So he came after I left.
Yeah, you were gone.
Yes. Yeah.
Rodney Caldwell, man. Listen. This is it. This is the FDU reunion. Fairleigh Dickinson basketball, New York City's finest, Jersey's finest. Any closing words, Chase? You want to talk about some merch? You guys send me the links and I'll link it. Talk about this is your final opportunity to get these people to put some money in your pocket. You my people, and I want to make sure that they have the capacity to do that, to support you. And Glenn, don't forget, there's a documentary my boy's coming up in. Glenn, you're gonna did Chase go? Oh, he's back.
Yeah,
there's a documentary that you're going to talk about. But Chase, talk about how, if they want their kids, if they want how can they reach you? How can they do stuff with you?
If they're ever in the area, Central Jersey.
Talk up, man, because I think people are saying you're low.
How's that?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're ever in Central Jersey or you got relatives in Central Jersey and you got youth in your family or that you're in contact with that you want to get an opportunity to get a strong foundation in
Glenn,
this
you can
game
hear
of
him?
basketball, to get an opportunity to learn about life obstacles, learn how to bust through walls, learn how to accomplish goals, learn about, creating tasks and achieving them. You know, what we do at the Garden Achievement Program is we prepare kids to go to college. And my goal is to get a young third to fifth grader and make them varsity ready as freshmen. That's our goal.
Awesome, awesome.
Love
Well,
it.
like I said, I have it on my screen name right here. You can subscribe. I'm on all platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok,
Are you on
and
Twitter?
I'm on Twitter as well. On Twitter, it's just a little bit different because it's NYC B-Ball Network. Everything else is NYC Basketball Network. Basketball is one word. NYC Basketball Network. Get some of the greatest content in New York City history. If y'all want to know about the Mecca of New York City basketball, where it started, the history, high school, college, playground legends. I got street legends. I got Skip to My Lou. I got Shane the Dribble Machine. You name them, they're on my show. Okay? Subscribe there. We also have merch. See, got hats. Got hats. I got polo shirts, as you see.
Uh-huh.
I got sweatshirts.
Merch
And
alert.
I got
merch.
I got hoodies. I
Merch
got
alert.
hoodies. And soon,
We got
and
the dope
soon,
hoodies. Hold on.
on Christmas, I will be dropping the premiere, I could say, preview, just a preview, because my documentary be shot, throughout the year into 2023. I'll be dropping the preview of my documentary coming out called Basketball Heads, NYC Basketball Network.
All right. I'm gonna attach all these links. And to all the subscribers who are on this page. You know what time it is. This is a social justice page. It's about God, family, basketball, and culture. And we're dealing with the culture right now. I love all my subscribers. We're going to be doing new things. If you can join the page, join. There's going to be memberships that are breaking down certain lectures that I'm going to be giving, the books coming out, certain teaching I'm going to be giving to individuals. So there's lots coming. So when you click on the join button, not sure if it's there yet, you'll see the membership packages that I have. People want information, and I'm here to give it to you. Okay, so just like Skills, aka Pooh, is giving out all of the history of basketball in New York City and otherwise. I'm trying to give you African Semitic history. I'm trying to give you ancient history. I'm trying to give you biblical history. It is my background, it's my skill set, and it's what I've been called to do at this moment. So these are all the packages that we have. My super friends, I appreciate all of you that do that and support us and support the page. Tomorrow, Rabbi Harry Rosenberg will be coming on 7 o'clock. Tell everybody. He's going to be in Israel. We're going to be here. And Rabbi is coming on. Rabbi Harry Rosenberg, we're going to ask him some hard questions. It's going to be a hard day. And he's thrown himself into the fire's den. And he said, I'm up for anything. Nothing is taboo. He's an Ashkenazi and Sephardic mix background, so we have a lot to ask that brother. But please support my brothers here. These gentlemen helped me become a man. What you got there? What's it say? The official home of NYC basketball.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
What you got on? You change your clothes? What you got on, man?
What? Got one of my clothes.
These guys got merch like crazy. The links are going to be in. They're going to send me the links, and then I'm going to share all the links. They're going to be on. I'll share it on the live, and then I will share it on the advertisement video for tonight. so you won't have to go all in here. But thank you, everybody who came out, everybody who's commenting, everybody who's joined. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate Tom Green. Shout out to Tom Green. I knew he came out and watched. Tom Green, the greatest basketball coach this side of Mississippi. And to his beautiful wife and to his kid. Hey, he told me about Brad, but I can't tell you, it's a secret. He told me some stuff about his son. I can't tell you, it's a secret.
How Margot? Tell Margot I said hi too.
Margot,
that's
yes.
right, that's right. Hit me up on Instagram, please. Hit me up if you want any merch. Hit me up on Instagram.
Hit him up on Instagram. And to all our Fairly family that's going to see this, Brad McLean, Desi Wilson, my boy, all the people that are going to see this, all the Fairleigh Dickinson people, Tammy Miles, who got me through university because I used to cheat on her. I used to cheat looking at her work, and she helped me study. All those people from Fairleigh Dickinson. Man, Mel, Hot Sauce, Hawkins, Baby, all the people, man, all the names.
Damari Riddick.
Riddick. Mike Come on, Goldman. Biggs. You guys called him Biggs. The brother was just chubby. I don't know why you should have just called him. You should have just called him Fluffy because Biggs was just chubby. He wasn't big. He was just chubby. But
Biggs, come on, Biggs had spin moves and moves down low like Bernard King, baby. Hey, Glenn, when you gonna have Bernard King on there?
Soon, man. The legends are piling up every day, man. My schedule's always booked, fam. My schedule's always.
I was at the game. I was at the game when Bernard dropped that 50 against Detroit. I was on the floor in the Garden.
You know what Wiggins told me, and I'll end it right here. I'll bring it in like this. He told me that Bernard King was the greatest member of the LGBTQ community in the history of basketball. That's what he told me. Wiggins said that Bernard King used to show up but wearing high heels, bro. High heels and fur coats to game. Take off them high heels, that fur coat, lipstick, and go out there and give you 50.
Bernard
when
King
I heard that, Mitchell Wiggins told me that.
Chase.
It's the truth, eh? Hey, we ain't gonna tell you. You gotta go ask Glenn. Glenn's an expert.
Guys, but
go ask the greatest
LGBTQ
player
Basketball
ever.
Network on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, all of them, TikTok. Thank you, yo, Dale, yo, brother. Listen, thank you again.
I love you, man. This is awesome,
love you too, brother. I'm glad I
love
found
you too, man.
And when we're gonna keep this brotherhood going on.
You ever come back to Jersey at all?
I can come anytime you invite me, man. I need a place to stay. I'm staying in a hotel.
Dude, I got 2 bedrooms here. I got 2 extra bedrooms, man. I was renting room now it's just me here. You're welcome anytime.
Oh, he's single. He's saying that's what he's saying. He's saying he's single. All ladies, this man is single. He good looking. He's employed. If you're interested, there's no ring on either finger. If you're interested. He told me not to say nothing.
We can all meet up in Brooklyn. We can all meet up.
Let's do it big time. And DM me. Let me stop. I'm gonna holler at you guys.
Yeah, but let's say this. We need to meet. If this thing keeps going on, we might need to bring a Million Men March to Brooklyn. If this thing keeps going on, we might need to show up in numbers to Brooklyn. We might need to knock on Joe Side's door and say, hey, we coming to Brooklyn. That's all I'm saying. I'm out.
They already deep in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is on deck always.
Yo,
hey, Glenn, I had the time of my life when I lived with you in Brooklyn. Oh, my God, we had so much fun. I love Brooklyn. I want to shout out to Brunswick, New Jersey, Exit 9, and all my loved ones, my grandson, Tristan, to everyone.
Big up. Big up. Blessings, everybody. Listen, we're going to come back and do this again. This ain't the last time, but right now, we going to bed. I got to eat some food.
All right, people.
Peace. Blessings, man. Bye-bye.